Meeting is now okay. Cool. Looks like we're ready. We all,
Yes.
Chief? Okay, great. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Whatcom County Fire Protection District 4's regular meeting of the Board of Commissioners for June 17th, 2024. We'll start with I will call the meeting to order and we'll start with roll call. My name's Steve Cooley. I'm a commissioner.
Tim Johnson, Commissioner.
Mark Land, Commissioner.
Jason Vanderveen, Fire Chief.
All right. And we'll move on to the public comment period. Chief, do we have anybody waiting?
Negative.
All right. Well, I will then open and then close the public comment period. And we will move on to approval of the consent agenda. All matters within the consent agenda have been distributed to each member of the Board of Commissioners for review, are considered routine, and will be enacted by one motion of the board with no separate discussion. If a separate discussion is desired, that item may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda by request. And our consent agenda this week or this month includes our meeting minutes from May 13th, the normal staff reports we get via the chief, our financial reports, and Chief, I'd just make a note here. I'm not seeing one report that we have seen in the past that I think we should include in the future. It's called account totals. It just shows us how much we have in each account, including the reserve account. She's got I didn't see it in there. She's got the budget position totals, but I'm not seeing, I think it'd be good for us to continue to see what we have in each actual account.
Would you look at page 15 of your packet?
I will.
And see if that suffices.
Did I miss it? Let's see. Page 15, there's 8. All right, I gotta find.
That's the county treasurer's report. It shows.
Yeah, the one with the seal of the county treasurer on it.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't really show us the total amount I guess it does, doesn't it? Okay, is that amount? Yeah. So that end of month balance is what we have in that account. Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess that does it. All right.
There was one sheet that came out, and it had some errors on it.
Uh-huh.
I mean, blatant errors. So I made the executive decision to pull it. She's reaching out to Springbrook to find out what happened with that, but it is what's reflected in this Whatcom County Treasurer's receipt. It's the same.
I see that.
Same information in a different format.
Okay, great.
And I don't know why Jessica and I banged our heads together, could not figure out why it came out wonky. There's nothing we did to make it come out weird. It just,
Okay.
Rather than usually I just said pull it and since it's the same info, just in 2 different formats. Okay.
Absolutely. Yep, I see it now. Thank you. Yeah, I missed that the totals are in the right-hand column there. So, okay. Yep, that does it. All right. So moving on, we got our financial reports. Also part of the consent agenda is our voucher and payroll benefits. And this month, our direct deposit payroll is $483. And our monthly expenditure voucher is $8,174.10. And that looks like that all was a bill or reimbursement for charges from Liz Loomis, right?
Correct.
Okay. And that's a pretty hefty amount. So I'm imagining that was for multiple months.
It's a couple months worth plus the cost of the mailer that went out.
Okay. Right.
The printing and the mailer.
Gotcha. All right. And so that brings our total revenue. Let's see. Our total revenue for May was $337,000, 337. I can't speak today, so we're just gonna $337,413.53. And our total expenditures were the other 2 amounts we already read added together, which is $8,657.10. Okay, with that, I will entertain a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
I'd move to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. Commissioner Land has moved. Do I have a second?
I will second that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. We have a second. Any further discussion on the consent agenda? Seeing none, I would ask you, for all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, to say aye.
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 That motion carries 3-0. Approved. The consent agenda is approved. All right, moving on to unfinished business. Several things on the agenda. We'll start with the draft resolution 2024-02, which is for utilizing and consulting service roster and withdrawing from the administering the small works roster. And that's included, the draft is included in our packet. Chief, did you want to talk at all about this?
Yeah, this is a combined resolution rather than having two, one to pull out of being the custodian and then one to join MRSCs, which we discussed at previous meetings. Small works roster, Mr. Quinn just went ahead and combined them. Said it's a common way to do it. And yeah, this just allows us to do both things in one swoop.
Okay. All right. Any questions or discussion from any of the other commissioners on this resolution? Are we prepared to go ahead and act on this today, or what are your thoughts?
I'm prepared to act on it today. I read through it and looked like it was consistent with their previous discussions about putting the resolution together. And I have no comments on it, questions.
Yep, me too. No surprises.
Okay, sounds good. All right, likewise, I've read through it. I don't see any issues at all. So in doing this, do I need to read the entire resolution other than the whereases?
No, sir. I think you can read the bold at the top.
Okay, good.
And then the whereas.
And then
Or the, sorry.
You get resolved.
the passed and approved. Yeah, right. Okay. Okay, I will do that. Without any further ado, I will. Do I need to entertain a motion to approve it first, or do I read first? Sorry, my brain isn't functioning well today.
I think
I'll
you
go
need-
ahead and entertain a motion. Yeah. And
Yeah,
then read it.
entertain a motion. Yeah.
Okay.
I
All right.
would move
So
to. I was going to say I would move to approve resolution 2024-02.
all right. Thank you,
Second.
Tim. And we have a second. All right. And I will read those relevant portions of it, and then we will vote. So Whatcom County Fire Protection District number 4, resolution 2024-02, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Whatcom County Fire Protection District number 4, which is the district that authorizes and provides for utilization of a small works roster or rosters pursuant to RCW 3904-152 and establishing a procedure for securing telephone, written, or electronic quotations from contractors to assure competitive pricing and award of contracts to the lowest responsible bidder, and further authorizing the use of a consulting service roster for architectural, engineering, or other services, and withdrawing the district from administering the small works roster for Whatcom County fire agencies. All right, so then there's the text there, and the end would be passed and approved this 17th day of June 2024 by the Board of Fire Commissioners of Whatcom County Fire Protection District number 4. All right. Any further discussion on this before we vote? No further discussion seen. So all those in favor of approving our resolution 2024-02 say aye.
Aye.
All right, was that all three? I missed
Yep.
it. Okay, got it. All right, motion carries 3-0. Resolution 2024-02 is approved. All right, moving on. Unfinished business. Department of Ecology's water adjudication is the next issue on the list. Any other movement on this yet, Chief?
Nothing. I haven't heard anything from Mr.
Okay.
Quinn. I did inform him that I sent him that flyer that the county sent out to all properties. Told him that there's no wells on any District 4 property, but we are part of a water association, and the district does have a water share at the East Smith Road Station. So that needed to be taken into consideration, and that I would I asked him for any advice, or is there anything I need to do at this time? So I believe he's out of the office a little bit right now. So I assume I'll be hearing back from him.
Okay. And Mark, if you don't mind me putting you on the spot, so we're just kind of waiting for their next step, right? At this
Yeah,
point.
I mean, yeah, it's gonna be, I think somebody mentioned at our last meeting, maybe this will be probably a years long process. And basically the Department of Ecology is suing everybody to essentially establish a water right. I know that they've been starting to have some public hearings, some informational things at the courthouse. I think the first one is coming up here shortly. They're providing a bunch of additional information on their website. So, but it can be a pretty emotional issue for some people. At the worst case, they're probably afraid the state's going to take away their ability to use their well. And the best case is, now it's registered, your name and your address and your well, and now you've established a water right. So, and then there's going to be everything in between. So that's kind of the $64,000, foot view, I think.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Sounds good. Anything else on that issue?
I mean, Tim, you're on a well probably, right?
Yeah, I have a personal interest in this one, so
So, I mean, do you
I
have
think it's
anything other than, what I added? You know anything else?
yeah, and I think you're right on, Mark. I think it's going to be a long process. I'd be surprised if it's done in a year, but at some point we'll probably have to provide documentation of our wells if you're on a well, and you're right, potentially you could be limited in the amount of water you could draw from your well.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Some of the little bit of the background of the politics, they tried to solve this through a well consortium, kind of a group thing that had all the stakeholders from private well owners and cities and counties and tribes, and nobody could come up with, as you can imagine, nobody could come up with really an understanding of what the agreement should be. The way I understood it was the tribes were arguing pretty forcefully, similar to how they argue, that they should have half the fish. Well, the argument they came into was the tribe should own half the water. And so that's where I think it kind of broke down. Not that they're right or they're wrong, but that's, I think, where it kind of broke down. And so now it's been kicked back to the state, and that's what sort of triggered the process we're in now.
good. Thank you for that. All right. Anything else? All right. We'll keep that issue on the agenda just so we can monitor it for the future. Moving on to the next item, the Britton Road, Northern Heights annexation issue. I've heard nothing on that issue. I don't believe the city's progressed much. Chief, have you heard anything on that at all?
No, and looking through council agendas and things like that, I haven't seen any forward movement on anything.
Yeah, no, I didn't see anything either. So, all right, well, we'll continue to monitor that. And eventually, I suppose we'll reach out and if we don't hear anything. But yeah, for now, I think we're okay to just continue looking for progress in that in the city's meeting minutes and stuff like that. Any other comments from anyone on that issue? Okay. All right, moving on to the next issue, Britton Loop Station 12 exterior project manager. So last, I believe, Chief, we were waiting to see what District 21 was going to do. Did they? I didn't see. I don't see their minutes on their website. I'm probably missing it, but I looked back to see if they'd taken any action on that. But go ahead.
So, yeah, for the District 21, we're kind of changing a little bit the tactic we're going to use in the work done at Station 63, and it's not really going to have a project manager. It's going to use a kind of an alternative form of public work, which I'm happy to go into the long form, or I could just tell you that we're not going to use a project manager, and that's kind of the way to do it.
I saw
I think that for Station 12, I think it's a small enough scope of project. Commissioner Cooley, you'd kind of offered to help me out a little bit. I think between the two of us, we'll be able to handle it. With the resolution with the resolution that y'all just passed, we'll get it enrolled in MRSC, and with the bid laws changing in July, we'll be able to award that contract, get another couple estimates, and then award that contract in July and get things started. And I think it's going to be a small enough scope that there's no reason to go through the expense of adding a project manager to like a single, you know what I mean? I think it's going to be okay.
Okay.
If it gets out of hand, then we'll have to adjust, but I don't think there's any reason for us to engage add another layer of cost at this point. So.
Okay. Yeah, I saw in your chief's report that you mentioned the method called GC/CM. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's
okay.
It's mostly used by school districts, some public utility districts. It's not really been broached by fire, but what it is it allows a public district to identify an architect and a general, and I'm going to use the word force them to work together to build a scope of project that's achievable by both, and so that all the expectations are on the table from the beginning, and you don't have an architect drawing a building or getting people excited about a structure that is possible for tens of millions of dollars. You're getting everybody in the room at the table at the exact same time, but because it is an alternate to the traditional way of bidding out a project of that size, you have to get permission from the state. So you have to apply to the state, go to a state board, do a presentation, and it depends on how complex the project is, and you got to come up with why you want to do this. And it's known for saving money and for keeping, like I said, expectations kind of grounded and level, as opposed to having elevations drawn by an architect that are this soaring, beautiful building that doesn't fit in the neighborhood kind of thing. So that's why we're choosing to kind of go down that method. Also, it forces, it forces a checklist, because we have no institutional knowledge of building a fire station. It's going to force a checklist on the district and on the contractors, so that we're all like working from the same page, that nobody's like, oh yeah, no, I know how to do this. I know how to do this. It's a little slower and methodical. So that's the reason for switching to that.
Gotcha. Okay. What about the repairs to Station 62? Is that being managed by some individual, or
it's being done or going to be done by the same contractor that did Station 72's remodel? So it's someone that we have an established relationship with, and it's a small enough scope that we fall into those bid laws.
Okay.
And he is actually someone that I've considered reaching out to about Station 12 project as well.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, if that's the case, then it sounds to me like you and I should get together here in the near future and kind of start talking about next steps for that project and how to get that moving. So
yep.
I'll reach out to you and we'll get something scheduled so we have something to report at the next meeting.
Okay.
Questions or comments from the other commissioners on this issue?
I would just like to clarify what I think I'm hearing. So rather than doing a project manager, we would still need to procure some professional services, but for more of having someone engineer or design the project that would then work with a general contractor. Is that kind of the idea behind the GCCM?
Yeah, and that's not for the Station 12 project. That's for the rebuild of Station 63 in North Whatcom. I was just explaining why District 21 is not hiring a project manager for Station 63. In which case we kind of were thinking that they could do dual roles, manage both at once, or assist with Station 12. And I just don't see, I think the Station 12 is small enough. The project it's going to be big, but small enough that Commissioner Cooley and I can kind of handle it, as opposed to paying somebody else to administrate that project. I think we can we can do it.
Yeah.
We can keep it in-house. That's a manageable one. Now that I know that Station 63 project is going to be handled differently and not quite so much on my plate, I'll have the bandwidth to handle Station 12.
Okay.
Yeah, so I
Thanks.
guess, yeah, I'm sorry, Tim. Yeah, I guess from my perspective, like I said, I appreciate that recommendation, Chief, that we don't need to use a project manager. I'll be more comfortable as soon as we sit down and kind of get our arms around the size of the project. I mean, we kind of roughly know monetarily what it will probably be, but yeah, let's get together and kind of jot down a rough plan, and that way we can get back together with let the commissioners know next meeting on how we plan to proceed, if that works. So, but yeah, I'd love to avoid the additional cost of a project if we can, certainly. So yeah, if we can do it within in-house, then all the better.
Okay.
Anything else on that issue? All right, that will stay on our unfinished business for future meetings. Moving on to new business, we have another resolution 2024-03, fairly straightforward one involving the surplus of 2 vehicles. So you all have seen, I would assume, that resolution. It's fairly short at the end of our packet. I would entertain a motion to approve that resolution, and then I can read it, but I see no issues with it. I'll move this time, actually. I move to approve resolution 2024-03 to surplus those 2 vehicles. Do I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. And with that, I will read it, or at least the relevant portions. Whatcom County Fire Protection District number 4, resolution 2024-03, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners for Whatcom County Fire Protection District number 4, declaring the following vehicles surplus. And there's just 2 vehicles listed there, a 2007 Ford Escape and a 2006 Ford Expedition. And it would be passed and approved this 17th day of June 2026. Oops, there's a typo there. We're gonna have to fix that. Now you see that there, Chief, the year. So it would be the 17th day of June 2024 by the Board of Fire Commissioners of Whatcom County Fire Protection District number 4. Make sure that didn't happen on the other one too. I don't think it did. No, it didn't. So, oh, wait a minute. Let me look here. Okay.
No,
yeah,
it did not.
It did not. Yeah, I see it. Okay, so as amended with the correct year of 2024, any further discussion on this resolution before we vote?
These are just unused staff vehicles that we're just insuring, and we're not contributing anything to the organization.
Gotcha. All right. With that, all those in favor of approving resolution 2024-03, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Resolution 2024-03 is passed. Okay, moving on. I did not see any correspondence in the packet.
Hey, Steve.
Yes, sir.
Sorry to interrupt you, but just maybe
okay.
for new business, I don't know. Jason, did you happen to just let Steve or Tim know that meeting we had by any chance a couple weeks ago?
I didn't. And then yesterday I was actually kicking myself for not writing about that in my chief's report.
It's okay. I can do it in like 30 seconds. So just to let Steve and Tim, just to let you guys know, at the beginning of the month, I was a part of a Squalicum Mountain community meeting. And basically the hot topic was fire and wildland fires. And, you know, there's a big concern that mountain, as densely forested it is, and being somewhat, you know, receiving rural services, that once if and when there's a fire, it's just gonna, you know, go crazy. So people are pretty excited about what we can do as a community up there to, 1, prevent fires, 2, you know, mitigate the risk, and if there is a fire, what kind of infrastructure do we have? So I, wearing the different hats I'm wearing up there, it really gave me a great opportunity to get Jason and the community president up there, one of the majority landowners, which is Paul Isaacson. And then if the water district had a water chief, that's Dave Olson. He's our operations guy. So basically I just kind of brokered a meeting, and we just talked, we just brainstormed, shared ideas. We were able to let the chief know that some individual property owners up there actually have tanks and tankers and fire suppression equipment, fire trucks. This is all private, but we were able to give them a map, where they're located, and then that's going to lead to further conversations with maybe Jason or his staff, maybe meeting up there and getting eyes on, and where are all these private roads and goat trails that people have cut all over the mountain, and actually seeing where the tankers are. And then on the water side, it takes water to put out fires. So then that led to a discussion of maybe the community up there is going to want to create their own fire suppression water system, and then how the district would, basically pressurize those lines and fill the tanks and all sorts of different things. So, so those conversations are going on. I basically had two meetings, and kind of one on behalf of the fire district, one on behalf of the water district. But anyway, that happened, and those conversations are happening.
Great. Thank you. Is there anything we can help with or that we need to be doing at this point, or?
I mean, from a governance standpoint, I don't think so. I think right now the ball is in the court of the community. I'm hoping there'll be some follow-up with Jason or vice versa, but I don't think they would need to, go through the commissioners for that. I mean, I'm sure Jason has these kind of, community interactions all the time. So from my perspective, no, not at this time.
Right. Any other follow-up comments, Chief, on that?
No, it was a good meeting. It was good to get to know the community leaders up there and kind of their level of preparation and what their concerns were. I was able, hopefully, to alleviate some of their concerns or maybe heighten others, depending on what the questions they were asking. And they definitely have the group definitely has some good equipment and resources. They're working on a map that's a little bit better map that I can distribute to the crews so that they know what resources are up there and where spots are to grab water and things like that. So yeah, no, I thought it was a very good meeting, and I look forward to it in the future.
Great. Thank you for that.
Hey, I would just like to put out there, mainly for Commissioner Land's information, that we've had similar discussions a little lower on Squallaca Mountain along Academy Road. And we actually had a meeting. We didn't have the water district involved, but we did have John Gargett and the Whatcom County Division of Emergency Management in on a meeting, I want to say like 5 or 6 years ago, and a lot of those same topics were included. I had a lot of the same property owners you just mentioned, and also some discussion about where are some water supplies that would be helpful for the county to know about. So if there's future meetings like that, I think there might be some interest along Academy too, to have those neighbors included as well.
Yeah, you make a good point. The Academy water main is actually also on our radar.
Yeah.
To have it replaced. I don't know that we've settled yet on the order of our infrastructure rebuild, but over the next 10 years, it's going to be pretty massive. Maybe before I forget, let me just write this down. Tim, is it okay if I just text you the name of the Squallaca Mountain Association president, and then can you pass it on to the Academy president, and then maybe put those two together?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know what you guys, is there a actual like organized group of people, or is it more of a loosely?
It's more of a grassroots type of thing where the neighbors get together, and we actually have an event coming up in July, and it could be a good topic for discussion. Um, but like I say, it's been a concern in the past. We did meet with the county once, and a lot of the same dialogue sounds like took place.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry to take up airtime here, Steve, on water stuff, but I'll do that, Tim.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, no worries at all. I skipped right past asking if there was any more new business after I introduced the first one. So no, thank you for all of that. I appreciate it. All right, very good. Any other new business? Okay. All right, so no correspondence. Next board meeting is the 15th of July. I think I'll be around. Anybody know that they're going to be absent from that? So I better check just to be sure.
I will be in attendance.
Yeah, looks good.
Yes, likewise, I should be available. So, all right, great. Any other agenda items for the next meeting other than those that we're carrying forward already? Go ahead, Chief. Sorry.
I will be bringing you two items next meeting. One is I'll be looking for approval to join what's a buying group, which is allowed by our new capital purchase policy, which will enable us to act on the bid I will be bringing you for a tender, or sorry, for an engine, to replace engine 12. So we'll have a quote, a dollar quote for the engine. The spec is done. They're running it through the folks now to get new numbers, as well as like I said, the permission to join the buying group in order to make that engine purchase so that we can get that moving.
Okay, great. Yeah, and maybe we can talk more offline when we get together about that one as well. But
Yep.
yeah, you're saying it sounds like you've made, and I saw in your report, you've made progress on that project for District 4.
Yes. Yeah, we just, so District 21 just sent a group back to do a final inspection, mechanical inspection on a new engine for us. Now that we know it's solid, we're just going to copy that over for the Station 12 engine.
Great. All right. Anything else for the next meeting? All right. Thank you, everybody. Don't forget, we're going to go down the hill here and sign documents whenever we have a chance.
Right.
And we are adjourned. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Just shoot me a text when you signed. Thank you very much.